Welcome to the Consultants Way podcast, your go-to resource for all things professional services consulting. Brought to you by McMahon & Ransford, a strategy consulting firm with over 30 years of experience helping B2B organizations achieve sustainable growth, and the Consultants Way, the leading comprehensive consultant development program. Hosted by Dean McMahon and Anthony Paluska, we share expert insights, firsthand experiences, and conversations with industry leaders on the topics that interest you most.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of their employer, company, or affiliated organizations.
Welcome back to the Consultants Way podcast. Anthony Paluska, Dean McMahon. Today we are joined by Elie Mansour. Elie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Dean. Gentlemen, I'm excited to be here and can't wait to talk to you guys today.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So, Elie, set the context for us, set some stage. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in professional services, and then we'll dive in a little bit after that to your current role. But kind of bring us up to date on where you are and where your experiences come from.
Absolutely. I'll give you guys I try to call it the elevator pitch to my new
It's
friends.
Like a job interview, right?
You got it, exactly. So I started off, believe it or not, as a developer, and I was doing that for about 2 to 3 years, and I quickly realized I'm not actually good at this stuff. I went to school for it. I studied it, and I was just like, why can't I really grasp these concepts? And I started at this law firm down in Toronto called Greenberg Turner, and I was developing HR software to help people travel to and from different countries and stuff along those lines. I quickly realized, as I said earlier, I'm not good at this stuff. What I was actually good at was organizing plans, communicating with customers, understanding requirements, and being that liaison between developers and our customers at the time. So I quickly made the leap into more of a IT manager / project manager role, and I kind of took off from there, where I understood that that was my strength, was making our customers happy. And I didn't realize how important that was in your career, or as being part of an IT professional that knows how software technology worked and things along those lines. So I quickly made that leap, and from there started building out a team or a roster down at Greenberg Turner to actually develop software. I had a good eye for talent, and from there I've been loving what I've been doing in terms of meeting customers. And back then I was doing custom dev as well for another company called Whitecap Canada, where that I continue to build my strength of being that customer-centric, customer-focused service delivery person, ensuring that people are seeing their vision, right? You come in with like a napkin design. Hey, we want to build this software. And I'm like, okay, hold on, right? So the customers would inherently trust me and want to work with me, and ensuring that I deliver on my promises and what we can do on a custom software solution. And from there, I moved on into more of a senior project manager role as a consultant for a few years for another law firm. You can see a little bit of a trend here in the legal space. I think you need to be a certain special person to be able to communicate, liaise, and work with lawyers. They're very particular in how they like to work. I've been corrected many times with my grammar and spelling in emails. So I got really good at that, by the way, over the years. And now I'm at BioConnect leading the professional services team, and it honestly, it's like hand in glove. It's been working out perfectly for me. It's focused on a set line of products, and my team is fantastic at working with our customers. And they've taken my mantra and aura of customer first. Let's fight for our customers. Make sure they get the maximum value out of our products. And what I've been now challenging them with is, I feel like I'm really good at this as well, is challenging them as, guys, what are we doing and what can we do more for our customers, right? And how do we bundle that up as another service delivery offering for what we're doing at BioConnect? To give you a little bit of context, what we do at BioConnect, we have 3 product lines. One's called BioConnect Enterprise, one called MedicSafe, and there's another one called IntelliView. I'm just going to focus on the BioConnect Enterprise arm of it for today's conversation. We are a biometric authentication platform. We typically like to work in data centers, large data centers, where people have security postures where they need multi-factor authentication. Your typical HID card won't cut it for some of these larger larger customers that utilize the data center spaces, right? And they'll have second factor or 2-factor. Where we come in is introducing biometric, either fingerprint or facial recognition, to gain access to your facilities and really protect the servers that are housing very important data, like user data. So that's where we play. We work in terms of deploying software solutions that make sense to the customer, coming up with architectural designs that we deploy for them, training them from A to Z. And then the big push that we've been working on over the last few years is transitioning from professional services delivery and bundling up a managed services um, structure. It makes us more sticky. It makes us integrate with our customers even more. We want to be part of the team as for our customers so that they can just literally call us, hey, we're thinking about this, or the other way around. Hey, I'll give you guys another example. Compliance and security is huge for biometrics these days, right? And now it's like we're rolling out these new features where me and my team comes into play is okay, what's your posture on biometric compliance? If someone is no longer with the company, what's your retention policy on their biometrics? And then we position ourselves as the experts to start packaging out and how we roll these out and how we work with them and what's that change management process around that in terms of getting communications and comm strategies out so that people aren't afraid to use these biometric hardware to gain access to their facilities. So I'll pause here for a second here. I felt like I gave
Yeah,
you
no,
guys a
no,
lot.
that's a great intro. So, and the space that you're in right now, evolving, fascinating.
Mhm.
I mean, we can dive into all sorts of things like that. And you got out of the legal space dealing with all the lawyers, and you moved into something new and different over here. But one thing that I did hear a dozen times maybe, and this is a compliment, right? In your background is, hey, I want to make the customer happy. How do we do this for the customer? The customer, that term came up so many different times. So you're in a leadership role now. How do you think about continuing to be able to, right? Clearly, customer centricity is really important to you.
Mhm.
But when you're in the leadership role, you're less involved day to day with working with the customers. And now you're trying to empower others and enable the team to do that. How do you think about kind of trying to drive and instill some of your values into your team and make sure that everybody has the same mindset when they talk about their experience and their role being really customer first?
I love that question, Anthony. What I like to do is I try to see myself as more of a coach for some of my lieutenants on my team, right? And I personally hate the words like I think we could, maybe we can do that, and show bravado, show that the confidence in our solution and what we can do for our customers, but also be transparent. If our solution or if we cannot deliver something, let's be transparent with the customer. But what I'd love to, how I try to put myself in a coaching role for my lieutenants is if there's a problem, come up with a solution before you present the problem. If they're saying, hey, we want to do ABC, well, we can only do AB, and this is how we're going to do it. This is how we can achieve C in our way. Would that meet your requirement? So I typically like to be working as a coach to my lieutenants, give them the empowerment to use types of words like yes we can do, yes I will do, and instead of the more passive, which I don't like, of I think we can, maybe we should. And that gives the confidence in the customer, right? The only analogy I can give is that if I hire like a contractor, I'm renovating my house, right? And they're coming in and they're very like passive. Oh, I think we can do your design idea around the fireplace. Maybe I'm not going to hire that type of guy. I want the guy to be like, yes, we can do that. Or hold on, I have a better idea. And they present an idea. And I keep it an open channel with my team, whereas that I present an idea and I tell them, guys and gals, this may not be the right idea, but I'm hoping my idea will spark a better idea. And just to continue to empower the team. I'm a type of guy that it's a sink or swim environment, in my opinion. It's either you're gonna swim or you're not. And I'm not gonna help you swim. And if you can't do that, then you're not the right person for that job. So just to summarize, I like to coach, I like to advise, and I will jump on customer calls if it's a fully transparent. If it's a very large customer and they're giving us hundreds of thousands of dollars to do a project, I will take that project and I'll run with it, right? And then my team can see and they learn more from me in terms of how I interact and manage and execute and provide the customer everything they need to ensure that they get value out of it. So that's another method I do. But yeah, for the most part, it's just empowering them, coaching them, and getting them to that point where they can build that confidence, strengthen that relationship with the customer, and trust is the biggest piece of that pie, a piece of that puzzle. So once we get that trust with the customer, then they'll really open up to us, and then it goes beyond just building that relationship with the customer. Now we can tack on additional projects beyond that once they
You
build
know
that
what
trust with
I
us.
like? I like best about your approach. One is you're you're allowing PS to expand and add more value. And it's all about the customer, which leads to higher end consulting ability, right? It forces us to lead the customer. It forces us to
Mhm.
tell them what's coming. It forces us to deal, as you gave an example, in the moment with, I, that won't work, but here are 5 ideas that might work for you. Let's work out the one. I think those are excellent. And we don't hear enough about that. And we're big fans of it. So I'm so glad. By the way, we didn't tell everybody you were Canadian. And that means, by definition, you're nice. So
It's what we try to do.
yeah, yeah. And you didn't say anything bad about the 2 Americans on the call, which I really
Well,
appreciate.
I love you guys. I love my American friends. I work with 98% of our customers are in America, so it's a pleasure working with you folks, to be honest with
And,
you.
and I'm in Canada a lot. I hear that all the
Mhm.
time is, oh, no, no. Businessmen are like, or business people, I'm sorry, are like, well, no, all my customers are in the US. So yeah, I like them.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I love my customers. They're all fantastic. Sometimes like small little joke, it's like I work with a lot of the like Bible Belt in the southern area, so now I've kind of picked up a little bit of that southern drawl when I'm talking with
There you go.
so like try to like rein it back. I'm like, okay, I'm not from there, but I've been working with them for so long now. A lot of that customers and they have that I get that little bit of an accent, so now I'm like, okay, I need to peel that back a little bit.
Well, Anthony and I are both Texans. So yeah, we're right
Yeah.
in that. We are the buckle of the Bible Belt. So listen,
Love it.
give me a quick example of one of the, we call them upsells, one of the
Mm.
expansion situations that y'all have been in.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest one was understand how do we package a managed services program, right? And I'll be honest, like where we were at BioConnect, I was kind of like racking their brain. They wanted to do it, but how do we do it? How do we do it? And I'm just like, oh, okay, just give me time. I'm that type of person. It's just again how I work with my customers, how I work with my internal team. I hate saying no. I listen. I said, give me time. Let me see what I can figure out. What I quickly figured out was like for at least the BioConnect arm, the managed services is basically like 3 pillars, right? It's going to be technology advisors, right? As I said earlier, people are going, they already have fingerprint readers. Oh, we want to transition to face. Okay, well, hold on. Let's talk about that. What's that's going to look like for you guys? How is that going to impact your users? Right? So we become advisors on the hardware. Then we become advisors on how is that hardware going to be rolled out? Then we become change management experts. And what we did was we packaged that all up with a bunch of other services. And we said, okay, the carrot was very simple. Here's our rate card, what we call one-time sale rate card. If you work under our managed services program, we're going to give you a significant rate cut, but it's going to be on a 3-year engagement, and you guys are going to have a bucket of hours, and it's strictly going to be project focused as you guys evolve the solution, expand into other data centers, and we will be your go-to team as part of that. And beyond it, it's one of the things that we try to make mandatory is to onboard us as contract workers. So we'll get like a laptop issued out to us and then get an email address. So that now we're so sticky. And then they'll just send us a message on WebEx. Hey, we're thinking about doing this. What do you guys think? Let's set up a call and then we'll start working on it. So I was able to take that human interaction, that relationship with a bunch of proactive style services of planning, rolling out, and expansion, and bundled it up into under this managed services umbrella, which really started to our larger customers have all signed up for it. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. It was the first time, like me on a personal level, that took something that no one could do where we're at, packaged it into a program, built up a sales model around it, and then we were able to sell it to a lot of our larger customers. And they love the program. They love the accessibility. They love the relationship. They love that we've taken on our product and we are the owners of this niche little system that they may not have the staff to work on it. To be honest with you, with how the economic structure is with the amount of layoffs with some of these larger customers, they look at us as now an extension of their team. And the sales pitch is very simple. Instead of paying someone $100,000+ a year dedicated to our product, for a fraction of that cost, you get my team who are subject matter experts in biometric and in our solution.
Yes. So I love the managed services shift. We're talking to a lot of people right now that are going through a similar evolution of trying to, I'm going to call it up level their services from like the actual customer value and outcomes that they're driving in managed services become a logical option. One thing I hear often when organizations are doing that is okay, how do we price this, right? It's a different model. It's a different, everything about managing an offer that is a managed service offer and pricing it and structuring it, all of that changes for the business. As a leader on that, having gone through that journey recently, did you have any things that surprised you as you made the shift to this type of service offering? Did you, things, did you have a bunch of internal debates? Did you have any customer pushback on any of, like, what were some things that you could give some words of wisdom to others that might be going through a similar journey right now?
I love that question, Anthony. So the biggest pushback internally was before I took leadership of the professional services team was everything was fixed fee. My personal opinion on fixed fee projects, it puts you in a win-loss scenario with the customer. The customer wants to squeeze everything out of you under that contract and the scope, and we want to finish the project as quickly as we can to get the margins. And I said we got to kill that. A win-win scenario is time and materials. Effort out, which is time, money in. It's very simple. And we unveiled the curtains, became very, very transparent with the customer. So the way I explained it internally is what we're going to do is I'm going to implement a time tracking system. What we're going to do is report to the customer monthly their utilization rate. What we're going to put the ownership on us is raising the red flag if there's some extras that are coming in that's going to eat into the time that they've purchased. And what we do on the managed services program, when our customers sign on to these, we offer flexibility, kind of like off the record. Like, okay, you have a bucket of like 120 hours. We won't nickel and dime you. We're in here for a relationship. So if you're like 10, 15 hours over, we'll write it off. But then we utilize that and leverage that on once we get into a 3-year negotiation window. So the whole premise around it, when the way I pitched it internally is you get them on the program, it's 120 hours per year at whatever rate we decide upon, which is a much lower rate than the one-time sales, what we call it internally. And the purpose of it is to provide evidence that you guys don't need on renewal, not 120, you actually need 150. You actually need 200 hours because now our footprint's expanded. We need more effort to work with you. Maybe new policies have come down from InfoSec or some compliance laws have been passed in the state that you're in or a specific data center. So our involvement becomes greater because we are the experts. And once I proved that model out, then I got buy-in internally. Once I proved it out with a couple of customers, then I got buy-in from the market. And for me, I'm very data driven. I don't like making my decisions on gut feel. So what I started to do before we fully transitioned from fixed fee for TNM, I implemented this software solution to track hours on the projects, right? Small caveat to this. People thought I was trying to micromanage. And I told the team, guys, that's not the case. I'm here to build efficiency. I'm here to make sure we're selling these things at the right number. If you guys are on the bench, I'll find you work. That's no problem, right? But that's the goal of it. So that was a kind of a little side topic you guys want to dig into is that the team was like, whoa, we're logging our time? I'm like, gentlemen, I was a consultant. I had to log every minute to get paid. So you guys don't actually know what the logging time is. A little joke I have because I was a senior project manager doing consulting work was that it's the line from what's the movie Fast and the Furious? I live my life a quarter mile at a time. I lived my life at a quarter hour at a time. So I would build in like a 15-minute increments sometimes because I'd be like, okay, I spent 15 minutes on this for a customer as an example. I'm very diligent like that. So
that's how I know you. That's how I know you work with a law firm. Everybody bills their time. The only attorney bill it in 15 minutes.
Now I wish I was getting $400, $500, $600 an hour, but hey. But from that evidence, I was able to say, okay, guys, this is what this customer needs. And then we were presented to them. Hey, over the year, you use this. Instead of paying X amount, $100 per hour, we'll give you a rate reduction and plus this package of services, which is not just limited to it, right? If you guys have and that's the kind of going on a tangent here. Sometimes a new service will be born from working with a customer we are intertwined with over a period of time, right? And that was with one of our customers. We were working with them, and they didn't go through our training process, and then they enrolled a bunch of people on like the fingerprints, and they did such a poor job capturing the fingerprint templates, right? And that they just did it in such a wonky way. So what we did was we birthed a new like fingerprint refresh program where we will analyze all the prints you've come in. We'll create a new training and lab program. So we bundled this whole service as just working with the customer over time, realizing they did such a piss poor job enrolling fingerprints. And then we packaged this analysis, refresh training, lab, and sent guys across America working with staff so that they know how to capture fingerprints appropriately. It sounds simple, but sometimes the simplicity gets lost in the shuffle. So I kind of went on a tangent on answering the question.
No, and I like that
But
point,
yeah.
right? Because it's also a big value of this customer centric mindset of a professional services organization is that
Mhm.
if if the team is operating in a way that isn't just like you were saying earlier, right? Get in, get out as quickly as possible, complete the scope of work, try and
Mhm.
be right, try and drive margin, but instead, right, we have a little bit of margin relief and flexibility so that we can do what's right by the customer. We can spend a little bit more time getting to know the customer and their true problems and understand not just what we're solving for, but all the other things that might get in their way on their ultimate journey towards realizing an outcome with our services or with our product. We're the best research team, R&D team for new services in the entire organization. And so what I love about that is kind of how you highlighted the by working really closely with these customers, we've uncovered some additional pain points that then allowed us to go and build new services. Because we so often are talking to people and they're saying, well, I want to expand my services. I'm primarily implementation, or I might
Mhm.
do a little bit of post-sale optimization work, but I want to go up on that. But what topic do I choose? Well, the question we always ask is like, well, what do your customers need you to choose, right? Like that's the
There it
first
is.
question. And you kind of have just demonstrated how important it is and how valuable it is to have the ears to the ground, feet on the street, pick whatever analogy you want of the PS team to help you inform future service offerings.
And I love that, Anthony. You just nailed it right there. And that's basically how I coach my team. Like, so like before I inherited the team, a lot of it was like, no, 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 no. I'm like, guys, stop saying no. Listen to what they're asking. Let's take it internally. Let's discuss it before we officially say no. You never know when something goes from, okay, we traditionally don't do this, to, well, we have the skill set, we know how to do it. I can help organize what the plan or the program looks like, and let's just go pitch it to them and see if they actually want to do it, right? And then once you, and again, to go back from the fixed fee to T&M model, once you're in that T&M model, now you can do your cost impact analysis and be like, hey, you bought this many hours to do this scope of work, but if you guys want this and it sounds like it's important, it's going to be an extra 50 hours at the managed services rate that you signed on, and then allows you to get what the extra feature or the extra configuration, whatever the case may be, implemented for you guys in day one, instead of buggering off for a year and be like, oh, we really did need that, right? And then it keeps and you keep providing value in that sense versus just saying, nope, this is our little box and that's it. And we're done with the project and we walk away, right? And that's never been like how I like to work with customers. I always like to try to stay with them and really integrate with them and build that relationship, because the customer will tell you what they want. You just got to keep listening, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and if you're to y'all's point, you're staying with them, you're intimate with them. Um, we want our PS organizations to say, "Hey, is there more intimacy if we do that? Do other customers need it? Can I get paid?" Yeah, instead of like you said, I'm a get in and get out person. That's all I want to do. That's just that's so 1970.
You got it, Dean. Exactly that, man. Like it's I don't know, it's just the way I like to work, and then I pushed it down to my team. I just like working with customers because I just, they're gonna come up with something new and neat that you can figure out with them and sort it out. So that's basically how we tried to push that kind of like managed services model, is just that you're gonna get the best of the best in biometrics, in BioConnect, and we won't, there's no problem that we can't solve, right? And then there's some soft skills that I've wrapped around in terms of project management and change management. That's gonna be, that was a big consumable service for us as well, because there's going to be some customers that are going in from just your HID card reader to biometrics, and then people are like, oh my god, why did they need my fingerprint to gain access? Why did they need my facial? What's good? What's the security behind all that? So then we wrapped around a calm strategy for adoption, because that was another big thing. I early on in my career when I was doing custom software solution, what broke my heart is like a customer spend like 250, 500, $1 million on a custom and no one uses it. And it's like, and like as you guys get to know me, as like how I stick around with the customer post implementation, and they're like, yeah, adoption's low, adoption's low, adoption's low. I'm like, geez, like how do we solve that? So that's when I started shifting focus into change management and how to up the adoption, because like you want to get value out of something you've implemented, right? So that's the big thing is now in the BioConnect space is how to ensure that their biometrics are safe, that the end user is feeling warm and fuzzy at the end of the day, that, yeah, I trust the solution, I'm good, I'm fine to sign this consent and give you my fingerprint and my face template, and I know how it's stored. And they have that education now, and they go ahead and they start using the software or the solution. Sorry to say that. No, yeah, it's the solution.
Do you envision this managed service offering becoming the only service that your organization provides, right? If you can
or the only way to buy.
yeah, because you're getting so much customer adoption for it, and it gives you such freedom to help them get to their outcomes. Is your model evolving from right now? It feels like it's a combination of some project-based work
Mm-hmm.
and some managed services-based work based on what they're doing. Do you anticipate it just going all the way into managed services, and is that good or bad? I mean,
I don't
it's
think
nice
it's
to have
good
the
or
blend,
bad.
but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think I think for the foreseeable future, it's gonna be a blend. The big thing I find is trust. You have to earn the trust. So if it's an existing customer, it's easier. So let me unveil the curtains a little bit more. The customers we converted to managed services were long-standing customers that would do hundreds of thousands of dollars of work for us, and everything was under like fixed fee and stuff like along those lines, and they trusted us, they loved everything we did, but there was no like official program or official sets of services and things like that. So a lot of the customers we transitioned were customers we've earned their trust, and then we've transferred them from our one-time sales into this our managed services program. Our net new customers, the model is pretty straightforward. It's what you said, Anthony. We start with a professional services engagement, some sort of project delivery. And the mandate I have for my team is not just delivery, customer satisfaction and earning their trust. Once we deliver on all that, the tail end of that engagement is that we have another pitch to them. Do you guys want to continue working with us in a managed services model? Here's what you get. And then we walk them through everything. They're like, that sounds good to us, right? Like, again, like I said, when you look at it, it's like you have a staff that's dedicated to whatever infrastructure solution that you guys have. Like, you're gonna have a network analyst, you're gonna have a guy that manages VMs and security and all that wonderful. They're never gonna know our solution or the biometric space as well as we do, right? So at the fraction of the cost, guys, you can sign on with us. You can get this massive rate cut, and we're going to integrate with your team, and you guys we just work together, right? And so that's how I see it going from today, maybe for the next few years. I don't know if that will be able to transition fully to just managed service offerings as the only way we sell. But as of today, to me, it's let's get the professional services engagement in. Let's earn their trust. Let's give them value. Then we dovetail in, and then we pitch to them the managed services program and how it'll impact their company and the benefits behind it.
Got it. No, that's great. That's great. Yeah, because we've seen, and that's a very common model, right? Which to the point, right? We have to build trust and credibility before we're asking them to sign up for a multi-year agreement, working with us where we haven't proven any of our ability to drive some value there. And then we see it come back, project-based work come back on the end or as a bolt-on or an add-on to the managed services work when as you start working with more and more customers in that manner, you start to uncover some things that actually have higher value than maybe is covered by the hourly rates that are associated with your managed services. And so if you need this additional level of service, now you can bring in a separate suite of resources to deliver on something that's more of a project-based engagement because it's solving a slightly different problem or it falls outside of the scope of what we would typically identify as our managed services retainer. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on BioConnect and where you guys land on some of that stuff. Elie, this has been great. I want to give you a second here to try and put a bow on a couple of key topics. Right, customer centricity is a big one here, and leave the audience with one or two key things to think about or to keep in mind, maybe at two different points, right? One as, hey, I'm leading a business and I know I want my team to behave more like this, but my team's being resistant to it. Maybe my organization's being resistant to us spending that additional time because we're really tightly held to margins, right? So some guidance for somebody that's leading that group. And then it'd be great if you could also leave the audience with a pointer on, hey, we've done an effective job at that. We're uncovering opportunities all the time. How do we filter the signal from the noise on what new solutions we should be developing, where we should chase things versus where we
Hmm.
should say that was a one and done. So I
Yeah,
think both of those would be very helpful.
absolutely. So the big thing, and I guess will be a repeated theme here, is build trust and listen to your customers. They will help you uncover what service or what your product might be missing, right? They are going to be in it. They're going to be working with their end users, right? So the gap we have in professional services is that we're not, like, we're working with the project team. We're not working with the actual people that are interacting with our devices and working with the software, right? Even though my team knows the software in and out. But the big thing is just keep listening to your customer, build that trust, and they will help you uncover additional services. Um, Anthony, if you don't mind, if you could just repeat the second point that
Yeah,
you wanted
the
me to
second
address.
question there was we're now we're listening to our customers, we're hearing things, and we're
Mhm,
every day your team may be coming to you with, hey, there's this neat, interesting thing that we're doing with this
mhm.
client that we think we should package and productize the way we deliver it. You can't act on all of those. So how do you filter out some of the this is a one-off versus this is something that we should actually invest in formalizing a solution around?
Yeah, great question. Because you're right. Like, my team comes with a lot of awesome ideas, and it's tough to just say, we shouldn't work on that, and yet we should work on it. It's, to me, it's like just in-depth understanding of the market and understanding what other customers have spoken about. Like, for me, I like to keep myself attached to pre-sales and sales opportunities as well. So you can hear if there's like a common theme across other customers of what they want to see. Perfect example is compliance, right? Compliance, 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 especially with all the biometric laws that are coming down across each state, and each state's got unique ones. So that's going to be like, that's a perfect example where my guys will come in like, hey, we heard a customer, they're talking about this compliance, and I think it'd be cool if we can do ABCD to help them with that. And then I'm like, you're right. I've been on a couple of pre-sales calls with these other customers, and they're talking about the same thing. So what I try to do is, you'll get like a common theme across the customers that'll help me decipher, do I want to focus on this new service offering or that one, right? If I heard it just like as a one-off, to your point, Anthony, it's like, okay, let's log it into our service request. We have a little service request form on our SharePoint. Let's log it there. Give me a little description, and let's see if any other customer talks about it. Or if you're comfortable enough with the customer, you could just mention, hey, we've been doing this for other customers. What do you guys think about this, right? And just kind of trial balloon it that way is how I advise my team to do it. But the biggest thing for me is commonality across other customers through conversations will help you suss out exactly what you should be focused on in delivering a new service.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
no,
That's
I
great.
like that.
Yeah, using the market information to to decide on investment, and therefore you can sell it to many people. Listen, it's been wonderful having you. We will have you back, and great conversation. Just super.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for having me on your show. It's been a pleasure. I like, one thing is, like, I feel like sometimes I'm on an island, but I love talking to like people in our same space. Thank you guys.
Yep, thank you. Ely covered a topic that I think others have touched on at different points, but we went really deep on this idea of the value that professional services can play if you just focus on customer value and staying close to the customer through the process. We talked about, right, just the overall kind of client stickiness that exists, the informing future offers, all sorts of different things like that. I mean, there's so many benefits that come from it. I appreciate the perspective and honestly the transparency from him on, hey, what they tried and what's working and where their business is heading. I understand that some people are sometimes reluctant to go into that much detail, but I'm very glad that he shared that, because I think it set really nice context for the power of what we were talking about in that conversation.
Yeah, I agree that he's good to talk to. He's got not just good information, but he's willing to treat everybody like a colleague. What I really like, and I don't want to beat this every week when we talk, but I really like that they're getting to do work that is more advisory and consultative, and not hemmed in by just implement the product, get out of there as soon as you can. That I do not think that serves our customers, our PS customers, well. I think we have a
Or
lot
our
more,
PS team members, honestly.
our PS team members, or the head of PS, or even the vendor.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Well,
great guy. We'll have it back. Go ahead.
he was talking about something, and it reminded me of a quote from somebody I was talking with earlier, I guess a couple weeks ago now, but I captured it at the time. And we didn't really spend that much time on it, but I pulled it up here, and the question was, what's the one thing your organization has done that created the greatest positive impact on PS growth? And the answer to that was they allowed us to have far less pressure on margin for a period of time. And that allowed us to do better quality work for our customers, which almost always led to an upsell, to subscription services, to one-time product, or to product expansion. And I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about here is if we want to play this role, there may be some organizations that push back on this because they don't understand the value of professional services or how the model really works. And so as a PS leader, I think it's important that you really make the case that, hey, we need to spend more time with customers. Here's how this is going to help us, even though in the short term it might feel like a margin hit on some of our PS engagements. Here's all the upside. And then, like so many others have talked about on here, right? Use data and report out proactively on the impact that your PS team is making in its ability to drive all of those other factors, downstream positive impacts of this by spending that additional time. So a 2% margin hit improved all these other metrics in all these different ways. That's a pretty powerful story to tell, but just know that some leaders might be initially resistant to, of course not resistant to the idea that, hey, we should care more about our customers, but might be resistant to the idea that what that is going to require is PS spending a little bit of extra time, which in professional services, time is money. So
yeah, and it doesn't. And I know what you're saying. It's not just maybe margin hit, but it's going to stretch your business in one way or another to build that intimacy. It's going to stress the corporation because they got to do things differently, maybe sell a little differently, maybe communicate. Stress PS if PS has got to stay longer, or have freedom for upsell. You get to stay longer because you're there. Margin is one key way you can do that, but lots of tools. So anyway, great guy. We'll have him back. Anthony, take us home.
Yeah, thanks, Elie. If you want to hear more of this, like and subscribe and follow us on YouTube and the podcast channels. Connect with Dean and myself on our LinkedIn pages if you want any more insights and information or want to ask us a question, or you can always email the show at podcast@consultantsway.com. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.